Corey, what would you like to talk about today?
So today I wanted to talk, I asked Joe if we could talk about the benefit or the reason, I'll say the reason, not the benefit, the reason you should be doing something outside of the gym, something active. I don't want to say just playing sports, but like any sort of other physical activity outside of the gym. That's what I wanted to go over.
And it's a great topic. As you know, he kind of alluded to fitness in 100 words, play and learn new sports.
It's the very end of it.
You know, and that doesn't mean it's the least important thing, right? It's 100 words, so they're all pretty important.
Yeah. Those specifically chosen words.
Yeah. So, your topic, you can start.
Okay. So I took some notes over here, but basically the kind of first thing I thought about was building better balance, agility, and accuracy. And those three specifically, because if you watch the CrossFit Games, like they'll do things like an obstacle course, or they'll have to hit whatever that thing was where they had to hit it with the sledgehammer.
Oh yeah.
That was a while back.
Yeah, when Matt Fraser called Noah Olson dingle nuts or something like that.
He called that?
Yeah, in the video.
Oh yeah.
Because he was like hooking and dragging it.
Yeah. And like they get to do like high level athletes like get to do things like that. But unfortunately, there are not a lot of gyms that have that type of thing. So what playing sports will say does is it's really putting an emphasis on that balance, accuracy, and agility. I know I used to, I need to get back into, and I'm guilty of not, like I get hyper focused on in here in the gym.
You don't say.
It's weird.
Or
right?
any activity?
Or any activity. And then I kind of let everything else fall off. But I used to play pickleball.
Yeah.
Which, like, I thought it was an old person sport, and that's a whole different animal right there, but it's kind of dope.
Old people just dominate the
They
sport.
do. They smoke me. Every time I play them, they would just whoop up on me. But there's something about, pickleball or basketball or football or whatever sport it is that you're building hand-eye coordination. You're building accuracy. Like, if you don't have accuracy, like, basketball's not going to be super fun for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the big things was we don't get a lot of those three, other than like wall balls.
And even wall balls to a wall doesn't
build accuracy.
I mean, it doesn't reward it.
Yeah.
Like anybody that's been in our gym, if you throw to a target versus throwing to the wall, it's a different workout.
It's different. And I feel like playing some sport, specifically a sport, I guess, will really help with that accuracy element that we don't get a ton of in here.
So, on that thing, obviously playing sports is fun. I think, when you watch Andrew Huberman's videos, right, and we're talking about neuroplasticity and stuff like that, part of that is it's keeping your brain and body young. You're learning something new. It's a way to reignite passion, I think, in times when you're learning something, finding something new about yourself. I think those are cool ways to do it outside of like the physical aspects, and then also like not even playing a sport, but I think if your family is anything like mine, it's like, oh, you're in the gym all the time. Like, what's the point? What's good out of it? Yeah. And then they'll be like, hey, I need a truck bed of mulch, and then I need it shoveled around my yard, and it's like, gotcha.
I got this.
And they're like, oh, I can help. And I'm like, nah, I got it.
No,
I'd rather you not.
Yeah, I say you say you can help, but like you're not. You're kind of a liability more than
like you're struggling to walk out to this truck. Let me do it. This is it's not what I trained for. At this point, I train a little bit for vanity. Yeah. But like that's why I started. So I could play with my kids, so I would be around for my kids and live a long life. Yeah. But it's also to where when somebody needs my help,
you can do it.
I can help them. Yeah. I may not want to help you move.
Oh, I don't. But I can.
But honestly, I'm more inclined to help you move because I know that I can, and that you probably can't.
Well, and that's like I've met people that are incredibly strong, that can lift a house. But
in a controlled environment,
right? But you get them like in a situation where they're having to move furniture.
Yeah.
First of all, they don't it's not evenly balanced.
Yep.
Furniture does not have perfectly balanced handles that you can grab to lift it, and that throws them out. And then also just moving, like
Yep.
back and forth, picking stuff up, putting stuff down, like it wrecks them. And I'm like, dude, it's silly because it's like, man, you can deadlift 800 pounds, but like you're trying to move a dozen boxes and you're needing a 5-minute break between it. Like you're not. It sounds mean, but you're not useful.
Yeah.
Like you could just stay over there, man. I can handle this.
Well, it's and I was talking to Sarah Miller yesterday, and I'm not a kinesiologist, so like there's 3 planes of movement, right? And CrossFit's going to get us in the 2 planes of movement pretty well.
Yeah.
Sagittal biased, but
There's not.
there's not a lot of rotation.
Yeah, there's not a lot of rotation, and I've told
There's
people,
not a lot of cross body stuff.
Yeah.
And for complete evidence, look at the aggregate. You all got wrecked
by crossbody.
by cross body lunges. Yeah. Because you didn't have an equal load.
Yeah.
You didn't know how to. It was a small little tweak like that ruined your life.
Yeah. Well, it's like
it was like when CrossFit introduced the dumbbells.
yeah, it wrecked. Well,
It
people
wrecked
weren't training it.
They weren't training it, and so this is the application of that. No methodology is perfect, and it's really hard to have enough equipment and standardize it
Yeah.
to have everybody moving in these unbalanced planes of motion and rotationally. And hat tip, Moxie is one of a gyms in town that does a really good job with adding stabilization and crossbody stuff.
Yeah.
They're really great with that. And that fits their programming. We're working on a program to where we do some stuff like that.
That's like if anyone ever asked, I was like, the one thing I wish we could add, and I understand why we don't. It's,
Yeah.
Again, you can't standardize most rotational movements, but it's more rotational movements.
Yeah.
Or even anti-rotational movements, doing payoff press or whatever it is.
Yep.
But getting sport outside of CrossFit, doing other things, even moving, like,
Yeah.
again, not fun.
Yep.
Not fun, but like you're going to have to do some kind of twisting or maneuvering in any situation like that.
I think a good example of somebody that applies their fitness well to their life. I'm sure there's other people, so I don't think about it if I don't mention you. Cooper Hudson.
Yeah.
He'll post his videos out on the farm, right? And he'll have like moving hay bales for time now.
Yeah.
And it's even less controlled in the gym. That load isn't perfectly balanced. And he's out there putting in the work. That's somebody that like he excels in the gym, but he's also excelling in his life outside of the gym because of it.
Because of what he can do.
And he may have started training because he realized its utility. I don't know his answer to that question, which one came first. But he's, that fitness is being used outside of the gym
and
on the daily basis.
100%.
So some other things that looks like we've got up there, prevents stagnation, helps motivate, create discipline. So anything can get boring.
Yep.
But if you see, again, the real world application of what you're doing in here,
makes it easy.
all of a sudden the boring becomes a little bit easier.
And it almost gives it kind of stokes that fire.
Yeah. And it's crazy to sit there and say CrossFit is boring. CrossFit is the least boring way to get fit.
But I mean, over time, like it
Over 10 years.
Yeah. I say I know I run into it a lot where I'll kind of, I don't want to say get bored, but for lack of a better term, I guess, get bored.
Yeah.
And usually I need to, like lately I've been jumping into class workouts.
Yeah.
Which helps a lot. And that's one of the fantastic things of why CrossFit's the least boring, is because A, you've got a plethora of movements.
Yeah.
Plethora. And B, you've got people there with you, doing it with you, that you can kind of race or
Just have fun to talk with.
right. But it does over time, like you'll get a little bit burnt out, especially if you're training, if you're aiming for like a competitive level, or you're trying to be competitive, or you're just putting in extra time. It's going to get a little stagnant. So having something else outside of this is super important. It's always been important for me because I lose interest easily.
Yep.
So having some other sport, pickleball or whatever endeavor I'm chasing after.
I think, and for some of these that maybe not have been doing this for the time that we have, right? Like think about our cycles. We do them for 8 weeks. By week 4, you're kind of bored.
Yeah.
And honestly, just saying it out loud kind of makes me want to like have a mid-cycle break every cycle that we do and just do something completely different.
Yeah, like a week of like
Yeah, just
extra accessory rotational work.
yeah, just random stuff. Just give you a break. Shake up the monotony of it because you come in and you know, oh well, it's deadlifts. I'm going to be doing strict handstand push-ups, and I get it. We understand, but that's how cycles work.
Yeah. It's the unfortunate part of building
Yeah,
strength.
and it's the whole difference between CrossFit and bodybuilding in the first place, and adding cycles is a way to try to marry the two ideas together. But CrossFit will sit there and tell you that you shouldn't run cycles, that you should just run a heavy day every X, Y, and Z. We've tried it. It's not what our consumers want.
Yeah.
So that's not what we do. We try to create as much variability as we can. But CrossFit's way is more fun.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's more fun to coach because I've got a different strength piece that I'm coaching. It's not layered on the week before. So it's more fun to coach. It's more fun to do. So just, again, talking through this out loud on video is something that I need to probably do a better job at looking at the programming and seeing like, hey, we need a break. We need to switch it up.
Yeah, maybe like a week long.
Just
get
and
your mind right.
and it wouldn't even have to be accessory. We could just do 3 different lifts,
Yeah.
right? Strength anywhere is strength everywhere.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get weaker because we took a
week,
break.
Yeah, a week where we did something different.
Yeah, and this is our second time running the cycle, right? And we've talked about that. Like, if I ask you your 1 rep max or to establish your 1 rep max squat, you're going to have a general idea in mind, and you're going to work to it. And honestly, some of your beliefs and your previous knowledge about yourself is going to determine where you end up, and not even just your strength that day. But if I say establish a 13 rep max,
Now you don't know.
you have no clue.
You have no idea. So now
Now I'm going to get closer to a max effort.
Yeah.
And it's that variability, it's that fun.
That's why I like, when we've had comps before where we've had like a buy-in of an 800 meter row.
Yeah.
Everyone knows their 500 meter time. No one knows an 800 meter time. But you're more likely to take risks on things that you don't already have an idea of.
Yep.
And I like that.
I do too. The other thing, and these are kind of all like in there, but and it kind of maybe it encompasses all of them, right? But it helps you define a why you're in here. If you're doing something outside, it helps give more meaning to the why in here. And maybe we've already talked about it. And maybe you're super disciplined and you don't need a why. And I remember, it's not related to CrossFit at all, but when I was working, every company, right, wants you to buy into their culture. They want you to really love it. Right. And I was like, I'm here for a paycheck.
Yeah.
And that was cool until I had other things I wanted to do.
Right.
And until I had family, until I had CrossFit. And then it was like,
important.
That time was no longer worth the money they were giving me.
Right.
Because it wasn't me. It wasn't intrinsic to, like, I was good at accounting when I cared. And the more interest I had outside of it,
the less you cared.
The less I cared, and then I wasn't able to fake it and get by with a moderately low effort. Yeah. Like previously, I was able to just get by. I'm an okay smart guy. I'm good at accounting, and I could get by with 20% effort. Right. But when I cared less and less and less,
now you got a 10%
because I had other things out there taking my attention, and so I'm not telling you to like have other things take your attention outside of CrossFit, but this will build in to making CrossFit more important to you, and you see why the effort in here matters. Yeah. I saw a post on Instagram scrolling last night. I was hyper bored last night. But this guy was just like, listen, choosing to not exercise one day, it's not going to make a difference. And he's like, if you take me and Corey, aesthetically, we look similarly in shape. He's far beyond me. But right, if he decides to keep working out today and I don't, our paths start to split. And then the next day, and the next day, and
just gets
and over 5 years, we're now so wildly different. And at 20 to 25, maybe you don't notice that split.
Yeah.
But by the time
35,
40,
45.
Jason Mueller, talk to him all the time. He's like, I'm too old for this. This is terrible. He was mad as all heck about the warm up
Oh, he was
yesterday.
super mad about the
He
warm-up.
was. I'm not here for this, but you did it, and he'll just be like, I can't keep up with you young bucks, and then in almost the same breath, he'll sit there and say, I was with my buddy and they couldn't even walk up the stairs.
Yeah. I'll say for, and it like, it's easy. And we've had this discussion before. Like if you're hyper focused on people in the gym, it's easy to compare yourself and be like, man, I'm
not making any progress.
I'm not making any progress, or I'm never going to be that fit. But then if you look at the just broad spectrum of people, and it doesn't even have to be in your age group.
Yep.
Like I know guys that are 10 years, 15 years younger than me. And I'm like, man, you're struggling just walking down the street to the mailbox. Like,
Yep.
And we have people in here who are, you know, all not name any names, super old, like Darrell. that you know, given
you deserve a Darrell with your old man Burmese box get overs.
But like I love to give that man trouble.
Yeah.
I think we all do. But if you look at other guys his age, dude's an animal. Dude's a stud, like hands down.
Hands down.
Like they're not like the percent of guys that could keep up with him that are his age are, man.
It's not big.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot. So don't get discouraged if you're hyper focused on people in the gym. I want you to look overall.
Yeah.
Overall, man. Because if you're in here doing this regularly, even not regularly, a couple days a week, you're still fitter than 90% of people in the U.S., maybe the world.
Yeah, it's really, and I bring this back to why you should compete. Because if you're always in here, you're following the same program as everybody else, it's hard to see your growth.
Yeah.
It's like looking in the mirror and taking a selfie every day. If you just look at one day to the next, you don't see any changes.
Right.
But if you've got 90 pictures,
you look at first
and you look at first day and 90th day, you're going to be like, what?
Wild.
But everybody else in here has that same 1 to 90 day growth.
Right.
Largely, you know, if they're putting in the effort. And so you may not see that it changes in the leaderboard because everybody else changed to the same degree. Honestly, the people with you may not notice it.
Right.
And you go to work every day. It's going to be hard for somebody to notice a change because they see you every day. But if you go out and compete once a year or twice a year, and you're going to see yourself climbing up that leaderboard or doing better and better.
Feeling better after workouts or whatever it is.
And so that's another new way and why it's important to be outside of the gym and in these new activities because you're going to surprise yourself. It's almost going to be like validation for what you're doing in here because you're less sore from the activity. And you're going to have very unique soreness. Like if I went and played golf, which I haven't played for 4 years, I'd be wrecked.
Yeah. Well,
that's all that rotational stuff we talked about, but whatever.
What I was just going to say is like, if you are, we'll say 30 or older.
Yeah.
I want you to call a group of your friends that you haven't seen in 10 years and ask them to go play golf.
Yeah.
Without a golf cart.
Yeah.
See which one of them, see how many, we'll say call 10 friends. See how many of your 10 friends make it through.
Or would even show up. If you told them absolutely no golf cart.
You might have, what, 4 of the 10?
So.
3 of the 10?
Even if they were in shape, they're not going to want to go because they won't be able to have beer.
Right. And that, like, golf, and I don't want to even get into the fight about golf and stuff, but I'd say golf is a pretty low.
I mean, you're not gonna get a fight from me. I'm a golfer.
I know, but what I'm saying is like it's not super physical. Like like if you called your boys to play basketball, like I'd understand if they didn't show up. But like golf, like you're just walking around hitting the golf ball. It's all good. They wouldn't make it.
They would, and they probably wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
Without a golf cart. If I'm being completely honest,
you wouldn't show up with
it. I don't think I'd show up either.
Okay, all right.
Without a golf cart.
Well, then scratch that. Maybe just go to the driving range.
Yeah. But I would even say if you ask you guys that haven't played golf in a while to go play, they probably wouldn't make it, even with a cart.
There'd be some kind.
They'd get super sore. You'd hear about it for the next week while you'd be back in the gym on Monday doing something else, and they'd be like, "Are you back in the gym?" It's like,
well, and that kind of ties into like different movements, makes you a more well-balanced athlete, prevents overuse injury or prevents injury. So I know we had a few weeks ago those 100-meter sprints that, first of all, if you didn't tweak a hamstring, which we had a couple people tweak a hamstring, if you didn't tweak a hamstring for like 4 days, 5 days afterwards, people were like people that are really good in the gym were like, dude, I am so incredibly sore. And that's part of the importance of doing sport outside of CrossFit is like, you don't do that a lot in CrossFit. You don't do those 100-meter sprints. You don't do single leg jumping like you would in basketball. You don't do cutting and rolling and whatever it is. So what that's going to do, doing that outside of the gym, is going to make you more resilient in here and less likely to get hurt out there. Which I think is the main goal for all this. Is if you can't train if you're injured, you can't get better if you can't train. You got to stay injury free. So it really helps make you a more resilient and less injury risk athlete. I guess I didn't say that right, but
that's all right. I got the point across.
Yeah.
I'd agree. And it's social.
Yeah.
Again, it's your last thing on there, but it's way more fun.
Way more fun. And we say, you and I have said it, a bunch of people say it, oh, this workout looks fun.
Yeah.
The workout's not. There are workouts that are less shitty than other workouts. But I think at the end of the day, most of these workouts aren't fun.
Yeah.
Like I used to play basketball. One time we played from like 8 a.m. till like 6 p.m. And I had my little fitness tracker and I ran it was over a half marathon.
Yeah.
Is what it said. Now I don't know how accurate it is because you're dribbling the ball and it's probably but like if you were to ask me, I'd be like, oh, I don't know how far I was running because I was having fun. I was playing basketball.
Yeah.
You don't notice it. In a workout, I know exactly how far I've gone. I know exactly how many reps I've done because it's not fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure there are people that are going to argue with me, but they're
and I wouldn't. And again, I think CrossFit, right? It's the most fun way to get fit.
It is the most.
That
fun.
Doesn't
Still
mean
not
it's the most fun you can have in your day.
Right.
And
be
I've talked about it with the best hour of your day. I really hope this isn't the best hour of your day with us.
Yeah.
I hope it's a very good hour.
I hope it's a well-used hour.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
I hope to leave you fitter. I hope to leave you happier.
Yeah.
And in a better mood. But I really sincerely hope
this isn't
the best hour of your day.
If it is, please talk to us.
Yeah, or somebody.
We want to help you.
Or maybe a therapist.
I'm gonna give you a hug.
Yeah,
not a hug guy, but you need
because and I'm not saying your friends aren't in the gym, but go have that meal with your friends or
play golf.
Go play golf or
get a cart though.
Go play with your kids. Toss the ball.
Something
like that. Your best hour should be outside of this gym.
This should be a fulfilling, productive hour that we like to make
Now, I
fun.
strive to make it your best hour.
I want to make it fun.
But I shouldn't be able to surpass
spending time with your kids
or
playing
I don't know.
Golf
you get to define it, but there should be something that surpasses what we offer in here in terms of best hour of your day. Again, that's my goal. It's what we're working for.
Yeah.
That's what we strive to accomplish.
But it's okay if it isn't.
But we should fail more times than not, and that's not because we failed. It's because something else is bringing you that much happiness outside of this gym.
Happier things.
And it would be our hope that what we had previously provided allowed you to experience that happiness outside of the gym.
You could run around and play water gun fight with your kids because you do this.
Yeah. So.
Last thing, you get to be a beginner again, which it's stressful. So for anyone out there, I wanted to try rugby. Mm-hmm. I found out their practices go till 8 or 8:30, which is probably not going to work for me because I'm in bed an hour before that. But just the idea of going and starting over. Mm-hmm. Because in here, I'm well versed. You tell me to do a split snatch, I know what you're talking about. You tell me to do a hang squat clean thruster, I got you. I didn't take the vote to call it a cluster. That's not my type of thing. If you tell me, I know. I'm not a beginner in here. the idea of being a beginner, it's scary.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of exciting. It's kind of fun. And if you're new in the gym, like, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But for those of you that have been in here and you know all of it, and you're no longer new to this, you need to try something new. You need to, it's almost like I don't want to say a different passion, because I'm very passionate about CrossFit, but it feels like a different excitement. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it honestly, being new at something else is going to help you learn better and listen better in here. It carries over. You know what I'm saying?
It goes back to the same thing I was talking about, Huberman and neuroplasticity, but it's the beginner's mind. It's the creating new connections in your brain.
Yeah.
You know, we can sit there and argue about muscle memory, and I understand our muscles don't actually have memory, but
Well, mine does, but most people's, no one else's.
but it brings all those new things, and I would say the same thing, not even with exercise, but make sure you're learning something new.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be
I'm not sponsored by them, but Duolingo, I've got a 1,300-day streak.
Rosetta Stone, and I haven't opened that app in
And
years.
learning new words and languages, and you know, stuff like that. Just always be willing to learn. There, James Clear in his weekly newsletter, he sent out something, and I don't remember the quote, but it was talking about once you feel that you have, you know, reached a certain apex in knowledge or abilities at a certain thing, to go and try something new. You know, don't be afraid to suck, and get working on it. Life gets real boring if you only do the things you're good at.
It is. It does.
Talk about it, it's your comfort zone.
Yeah. Get out of
and
it, man.
you may have a really, really large comfort zone right now. Doesn't mean it can't get larger.
No. Go, I don't know, learn to salsa dance.
Yeah. That'd be fun. I mean, imagine being someplace and being able to break out a salsa dance
That would actually
and
be
nobody
pretty cool.
knows. Like, I've actually fantasized about that, as like taking dance classes that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
And then just, because anytime anybody asks me to dance, I'm like, slow songs at weddings, and like when I'm at home with my kids or coaching, if some Tejano music or whatever comes on, like my shoulders start to shake, I can't help it. But actually being able to do
Just
it,
like bust out like
and
some
like
awesome salsa
yeah,
dance
and actually
moves.
have coordination, and
Yeah.
man, that'd be pretty
cool.
dope to just completely surprise everybody.
That, and like, man, I don't know, what was the other guys where Mark Wahlberg just like busts out some beautiful ballet moves, and he's like, wow, that was really good. And he's like, yeah, I learned it so I could make fun of kids at the park. Go learn ballet if that's what you need to do to get out of your comfort zone.
Well, when we first opened the gym, Co-Motion Dance, they had an adult hip hop class, and we kept trying to get them out here for a Friday night. We never could arrange it, and I think they're considerably bigger now, as are we, so it wouldn't really fit. But I've always wanted to do an adult hip hop class. Again, same reason, but one is great exercise. Two,
Oh, man.
like you're just not taking yourself so seriously for a bit. Having some fun, goofing off with friends.
It's just
learning new things.
It's just like building coordination. At the end of the day, look at it as you just building coordination. And if you are wanting to try something new and you're a little bit too nervous to do it by yourself, you have an entire gym. If you go to this gym, which you might, you have an entire gym of people. I'm sure we could convince someone to go with you.
Yeah. And counterbalance that, like I kept trying to swim, and for me it was too close to what I should have been good at, and I wasn't good at it, that I didn't like being there. And that's right, that highlighted a problem I have, because I was the worst swimmer, and so I didn't like, I still want to get better at it, but I want to kind of do it on my own.
Oh yeah.
And it just kind of like hammered my anxiety. So if you're not a social person in that degree and want to spend some time alone with it, that doesn't mean you can't ask somebody for tips or ideas on what to do it. And then they're going to be like, oh, I'll take you sometime. And you'll be like, yeah, cool, that's great. And then just slow play it, let it happen. Go build your comfort. But if you are a social animal and you don't have that anxiety, go out, go do it. Post on our community board and
You'll
say,
find someone.
does anybody want to do this? You're going to find somebody that they have just been waiting for somebody to ask.
I'll tell you what, if anyone's out there thinking, man, I really want to play laser tag, but I wish I had someone to go with, I want to do that. I want to play laser tag at Percy Creek, so do it, and I'll go with you.
There you go. Oh, I should have invited you to my son's birthday party.
Oh, dude, I'm going to take it way more seriously than I probably should, though.
Oh, it's fun. All right, we've rambled on long enough. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Like and subscribe, or else.